Howdy folks, and a great big welcome to each and every one of you. Well, for the last year or so I've been whining about my trigger finger, and I finally got into a specialist yesterday, and he drove a needle full of corticosteroid into just behind this knuckle here, and I can flex this finger a little more, but I still can't straighten it out. But it doesn't hurt as much now when I'm playing the banjo, so thank God for that. Hopefully they continue to take care of it and get my finger straightened out. The two tunes that I just played, the first one was called Liberty, and the second one's called Mississippi Sawyer. And Mississippi Sawyer is an old fiddle tune that was published in 1839 by a gentleman whose name was Knopf, Knauff, in a collection that he called the Virginia Reels. And in his book he called the tune Love from the Heart. And folks in Texas who play the tune also call it the Downfall of Paris, which is comes from O'Neill's music of Ireland. So it's got a couple of different names, and they're both really old tunes, old war horses. I had forgotten that I used to play them, so got them going again today. Hope you enjoyed listening to those tunes. What I'd like to do now is a little Bible reading. So for those of you folks who are not interested in and do not want to hear a Bible reading, now's the time for you to end the video. I'll say adios. See you next time. For those of you who are hanging on, I've been struggling with Romans chapter 13, and I'll read you a bit of it now. It says, this is a letter written to the Romans by Apostle Paul. Everyone must submit himself to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, he who rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. And in light of the tyrannical rulers that we see in North America now, I've been struggling with that passage. One thing that gives me comfort as a follower of Jesus is I really don't belong to any earthly kingdom. I belong to a heavenly kingdom. So that's going to be for all of eternity too. I have several questions about this Romans 13. What happens? It says here, rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. Well, what happens if your ruler becomes a tyrant and he or she starts doing wrong while you are trying to do right? And if you read through the Old Testament, God was always in the ruler of his chosen people until they decided that they didn't want him anymore, that they wanted a king just like other nations around them had. So they rejected God and went for a human king. And that's where civil authority started going down the drain. So I'm struggling with that. Um, I'm struggling with what happens when your ruler, the head of the government, becomes a tyrant. It's highly obvious that tyrants have they're not humble. They're interested in getting all the power that they can get a hold of at the people's expense. And this is all also a progression that John wrote down in the book of Revelation, because everything in the world is going towards one world government, and there's going to be one world ruler coming up. So those are things that have been heavy on my mind lately. What do you think? If you've got any ideas or some comment you'd like to make, please leave them down below. I'd appreciate hearing from you. Meanwhile, I hope you enjoyed the tunes. Hope you enjoyed the reading. And now's the time for me to say God bless, and we'll see you down the road.